Variant of concern has reached the UK. 2 cases have been identified in Nottinghamshire and Essex, and the Health Secretary says they're urgently trying to trace anyone who's been in contact with them.
The 2 individuals concerned are self-isolating alongside their whole household, whilst further tests and sequencing is carried out.
Also this evening, 3 people are dead after Storm Aarwin brings winds of nearly 100 miles an hour, and
send in the clouds.
Tributes are paid to a giant of 20th century musical theatre, Sondheim.
We have lost one of the greatest writers that the world has ever seen. He truly is, as his own song says, a giant in the sky now.
This is ITV News with Geraint, Vincent.
Good evening. 2 cases of the new Omicron variant of COVID-19 have been confirmed in the UK. One is in Essex, the other in Nottingham. They are connected and linked to travel in southern Africa, where the strain was first identified. The Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, said the people concerned and all members of their households are self-isolating and contact tracing is being carried out. Meanwhile, 4 more African countries are being added to the travel red list. The Prime Minister is due to speak very shortly. Chloe Keedy has the latest.
It is the best weapon we have in the fight against COVID-19, but people getting their booster jabs today will have to hope that it is equally effective against a new strain, which has now arrived in the UK. 2 cases of the Omicron variant, first detected in South Africa, have been found, one in Brentwood in Essex, the other in Nottingham.
The 2 individuals concerned are self-isolating alongside their whole household, whilst further tests and sequencing is carried out and contact tracing. The 2 cases are linked. One thing that we are doing immediately is carrying out targeted testing and sequencing of positive cases in the 2 areas that are affected.
The 2 cases are thought to be linked to South Africa. Today, 4 more countries joined it on the UK's red list, bringing the total to 10. Malawi, Mozambique, Zambia and Angola are all now subject to travel restrictions, which come into effect on Sunday. But Omicron is already on the move, and governments all over the world are scrambling to try and stop it.
So our Cape Town flight cannot enter the Netherlands.
It's not known whether the new variant is among the 61 cases detected on 2 flights from South Africa to the Netherlands. Passengers were stranded at Schiphol Airport for hours while tests were carried out. Those infected are now in hotel quarantine. The World Health Organization has labelled Omicron a variant of concern and says its rapid spread in South Africa suggests it has a growth advantage.
How worried should people be?
We really do just have to wait and see. And maybe not get too alarmed. As I said, viruses can sometimes mutate to be less virulent. Theoretically, this new variant, it may transmit to more people, but if it doesn't cause severe disease at all, it may act as a vaccine in its own right.
For now, though, it is this vaccine that remains our best chance of protection in a pandemic that isn't over yet. Chloe Keedy, ITV News.
Well, our political correspondent David Wood is in Downing Street. David, the Prime Minister has just started speaking, hasn't he?
Yes, Geraint, he has, and this is a reminder just how quickly things can change as we fight this pandemic. Earlier on this week, there was confidence from the Prime Minister that his plan B of COVID restrictions may not be needed. But just a few hours ago, the Health Secretary said the government would do whatever it needs to do to control this virus. The Prime Minister has just had some pretty sobering words to say, suggesting that this new variant will spread and it can still affect people who are double vaccinated, and therefore he needs to step up measures. So what could those measures be? Well, I've already mentioned his plan B, and what that does suggest is increase instructions for people in England to wear masks. There are already stricter instructions in Northern Ireland, in Scotland and in Wales on mask wearing. Also instructions for people to work from home and for vaccine passports to be needed to go into certain large venues. It's not yet clear exactly what he's likely to do, but expect to hear more instructions around face masks as we now have to learn to stop the spread of this variant as scientists desperately try to understand more about it, in particular if vaccines are effective against it.
OK, David Wood, many thanks. 3 people have died after Storm Aarwin lashed parts of the country with gale-force winds, snow and rain. Falling trees caused 2 of the deaths and damage was widespread across the UK. Tens of thousands of homes lost power and rail services and roads were still closed today. Helen Keenan reports.
Whipping through the air at speeds of almost 100 miles an hour. As the winds of Storm Aarwin battered large parts of the UK. Sea foam frothing over this pier in Sunderland. And elsewhere in the city, bricks torn from this house, crushing the car parked beneath. The wind so ferocious it flipped over lorries and sent trees crashing to the floor, claiming the lives of 3 people, in Cumbria and in Aberdeenshire, and the other in Northern Ireland, named locally as Francis Lagan, the head teacher of a school in Maghera. At this caravan park in Hartlepool, they tried to put on a brave face, despite being surrounded by devastation. Many of these holiday homes were completely destroyed.
Getting hit by debris, I went over, tried to help a few people whose caravans had come off the sticks, and then the park came out and said to evacuate.
The caravan was rocking quite badly. The dog was a bit upset.
So treacherous were the conditions that motorists were warned to keep off the roads, as the Met Office issued a rare red warning for the first time in almost 2 years. It's now largely being reduced to amber, but tens of thousands of homes across the country remain without power and more hazardous conditions expected over the next 24 hours.
All that wet weather around on the ground, we're likely to see some ice forming by the time we get to Sunday morning. So we lose the wind, but then we will see some icy conditions.
And welcome to Wales, where, because of Storm Aarwin, for the first time ever, we're not coming to you live.
And further disruption to I'm a Celebrity. After a pre-recorded episode aired last night, stormy weather at the castle in North Wales, forcing ITV to cancel tonight's and tomorrow's episode, as the chaos from Storm Aarwin continues. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
The First Minister has insisted that relations between France and the UK remain strong, despite a row between Boris Johnson and President Macron over how best to deal with people trying to cross the Channel in small boats. The Home Secretary has been disinvited to a meeting of EU ministers tomorrow, which was due to discuss the issue. Police investigating the murder of 12-year-old Ava White in Liverpool have appealed for a potentially key witness to come forward. They want to know if the occupants of this van might have seen something when she was stabbed to death on Thursday night. And Michael Vaughan has apologised to his former teammate Azim Rafiq for the hurt caused by alleged racist comments made at Yorkshire Cricket Club. Speaking to the BBC, Vaughan again denied making any such comments himself. To sport now, and England's women remain on course for a place in the World Cup finals in 2023. The Lionesses made it 5 wins out of 5 in qualifying, with a 1-0 victory over Austria in Sunderland. Ellen White marked her 100th England appearance with the winning goal. And finally, it's been a day of tributes for Stephen Sondheim, one of the giants of 20th century musical theatre, whose death was confirmed late last night at the age of 91. Theatre impresario Sir Cameron Mackintosh called him a genius who would live on in the work he's left behind in shows like Sweeney Todd, Into the Woods and, of course, West Side Story. Emma Patterson has more.
Cast, musicians, crew, dedicate tonight and going forward for our entire run to Stephen Sondheim.
Broadway performances rarely open with a standing ovation, but last night's production of Company did just that, paying tribute to the show's creator, Stephen Sondheim. The driving force behind some of musical theatre's most beloved and celebrated shows, Sondheim was one of Broadway's most influential composer-lyricists.
Send in the clown.
His glittering career saw him win 8 Tony Awards, 8 Grammy Awards, a Pulitzer Prize and an Academy Award. His best-known works include Into the Woods, Sweeney Todd and the lyrics to West Side Story. Several of Sondheim's hit musicals were turned into movies, and as news of his death broke, tributes poured in from stars of both stage and screen.
Even Stephen Sondheim couldn't write with his great command of language the impact that he has had on our lives. He's been our inspiration. We have lost one of the giants of the musical theatre, one of the greatest writers that the world has ever seen. He truly is, as his own song says, a giant in the sky now. He's also, for 46 years, been one of my closest friends. He made me laugh like nobody's ever made me laugh, and I will miss his laughter forever.
Sondheim was known for adding substance to musical theatre with his lyrical ingenuity. And for the director of his show last night, he was simply one of a kind.
He was truly the greatest artist that we, in our lifetime, possibly will ever know in this art form.
Stephen Sondheim, who has died at the age of 91. And that is it for now. I'll be back with the late news at 11:15 tonight. Until then, good evening.